comment below. Tell me what you think.
The hole is about 2 foot in diameter. And that's the hole in my driveway. All right. That meteor flew over today, Williamston, South Carolina. And this is what I found. And I don't know what that is. It's got a glow to it. Feels cold to the touch.
In 1995, Robert Overtaker wanted to raise awareness for homelessness with a stunt that would grab the world's attention. His plan was to ride a jet ski straight over Niagara Falls and parachute safely down. On October 1st, 1995, Robert mounted his jet ski and powered through the waters above Niagara Falls. His goal set and adrenaline pumping. Spectators watched in anticipation, unaware of the tragedy that was about to unfold. As he approached the edge, Robert launched himself and the jet ski over the roaring falls. But as he plummeted downwards, disaster struck. His parachute failed to open. Without the parachute, he was helpless against the pull of gravity. He crashed into the freezing waters below. The impact was brutal. His body was tossed like a rag doll, violently thrashing against the raging current, limbs twisting unnaturally. Minutes felt like hours as the rescue team scrambled to find him. When they finally located his lifeless body, it was a grim sight. His face was unrecognizable, battered, and bruised from the crushing fall. His limbs contorted in unnatural positions. And his jet ski bobbed lifelessly on the surface, a haunting reminder of the stunt that went horribly wrong.
So this is a little bit strange. This was sent in by a follower that don't want to be named, but on the description it was said, multicoloured spheres were observed and filmed by a commercial airline pilot at 35,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean. If we're looking at this, look how these things behave. So you've got your initial kind of glowing-y orb type thing, and then as the video progresses, more of them appear in the background, and they seem to kind of just phase in from nowhere, which is a little bit peculiar, because if you're looking towards the dark section, you'd think you'd be able to spot something in the distance coming in, but multiple things tend to just kind of manifest in, mate. So here we go, right? They're dropping the kids off at the pool. There we go. Late to school and that. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cutting around up there. 5, another one. And it reminds me a little bit of the Phoenix Lights a little bit, bruv. But not as organised, but I don't know. I've not seen anything like this before. I mean, we have seen multiple cases of UFO footage exhibiting this same high strangeness. But what it is, I don't know, man. Secret Black Project, weird stuff going on, plasmoids. You guys let me know down below. But, you know, and again, look, they're completely gone. Weird. Also, my full crop circle investigation of the Lyme Regis crop circle is live on my YouTube, mate. Almost 20 minutes long with all the information. We got readings, RF readings, EMF readings, measurements done. We interviewed people. We've got all that kind of good stuff there. And the conclusion is also interesting. There's a lot of weird oddities in this place itself, from feelings, other people's perspectives as well. The whole site in question. Go and check it out, bruv. It's kind of crazy. Go to my bio, click the link.
We've had 3 adult-sized sharks wash up on a beach in the Hamptons with no visual injuries, and they're all dead. Not to mention, we're recording temperatures by anomaly of plus 12 degrees Celsius in some locations. This heat is breaking records all over the earth, but think in terms of frequency. You get it? Come back to all that. So all this led me down and
But was soon converted into a bothy, a type of shelter for hikers or people traveling by. Many people who stayed in the Wailagan bothy reported experiencing strange paranormal activity. One day, a hiker from the channel Happy Hippie was looking for a place to camp and musters up the courage to stay the night in the bothy, which seemed fine at first, until nighttime, and things get a little creepy.
I've set up my bed for the night. Gonna get the fire on when it gets darker. There's normally loads of candles around, but they've all been burnt out. I got one of them water filter straws, and it comes with 2 little bags as well, so you can attach the straw to that. But I've not got to use. Maybe this is the guests. There was no one there. I don't know if that's just the people fucking with me or something. I don't know if that's something they do. But I don't think it would be that family if it was just a dad and his daughter and son. Oh well, we'll see. It was just knocking on the door again, and then I went out, but there was no one there, so I don't know what's going on, but I've heard of any haunted bobbies or anything. I've never had weird shit. For fuck's sake. Just wanted a nice little bobby night.
The man hears 3 knocks, but as he opens the door, thinking it might be other hikers, no one's there. Sometime later, while getting ready to go to bed, he hears footsteps nearby.
And then walking around into the room, and then I go in there, and it just stops. Maybe I just put my music on really loud and forget about it. Cameraman never dies, right?
Despite all the creepy activity, the man puts on music and spends the night there.
Morning, had a bit of an experience last night. Not really sure what was going on. Thought it was just people knocking the door and running away that were camping nearby, but it didn't seem like that when I went outside. We'll see you on the bike. Peace.
By opening the knocking door, they heal out whatever's haunting the woods into the bothy. Let me know what you think.
We have a weird creature sighting. This was actually captured around June 29th in Mazamitla, Jalisco, Mexico. And the woman was out on her balcony just enjoying the evening when she noticed something by her car. So she pulls out her phone and quickly records and captures this weird looking creature that honestly looked like an alien. I have slowed down the video and zoomed in, and it still looks like an alien. Take a look at this footage, comment below, tell me what you think this is.
This could have ended so tragically, but it didn't because the father's massive freaking... So yesterday, during a Disney cruise returning from the Bahamas to Florida, a 5-year-old girl fell overboard from the 5th floor after she was put on top of the railings for a family picture. And according to those at the scene, the father didn't hesitate for a single second to jump in after her, risking his own life as well. Once he got to her, he held her head above water while desperately waiting for rescue teams to be alerted and save them. And passengers watched in horror as the father and the daughter drifted further and further away. Thankfully, however, an emergency team managed to get to them in time and returned the pair safely on board. But here's why people are saying that this is such a miracle, because falling off of a cruise ship often ends in death. And if their dad jumped into the water just a few moments later, the girl would have most likely been lost. Damn, bro better be getting the best Father's Day gift ever.
Were 3 local news stories that involved violent crimes. At the end, a video of fellow anchor Bob Peterson was set to play, but the reel jammed. She continued nonchalantly, apologizing and citing technical difficulties. What the people on set didn't realize was that Christine had pre-written her own script. After reading her own words, she quickly drew a gun and used it on herself as cameras continued rolling. An alleged audio has been released of her report. I was skeptical of its validity, but the words match the police report verbatim, and it does sound like her voice. As a comparison, here's a short clip of one of her earlier reports.
Really, the end of the line of Sarasota County, which Northport is, what are the needs of your community now?
I had to censor portions of the audio specifically for TikTok. Take a listen.
Sorry, for those of you who saw Late Night Weekend News Watch last night, we did have a film report and a commentary by Bob Peterson. Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties and cannot bring it to you now. However, News Watch tonight at 5:30, and we'll have that story for you then. As of this morning, Grace Foster, who was shot in that incident, is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first. In living color, exclusive coverage of an event.
This woman cooked herself alive. There was a woman who was always made fun of for being pale, so she decided to go to a tanning salon near her house. She tried to make an appointment for an hour, but the staff said for her own safety she could only tan for about 30 minutes. After the session, she looked in the mirror and realized her skin wasn't any darker. The next day, the woman attempted to make another 30-minute appointment, and the staff said she could only tan 2 times a week. After the second session finished, the woman again noticed her skin wasn't any darker and she wasn't satisfied. She then came up with a plan. Since she could only go there 2 times a week, she decided to make an appointment every day at different tanning salons. She then spent the next 4 days going from one tanning salon to another. But her skin still wasn't as dark as she wanted it, so she went and got the strongest tanning lotion she could find, and then covered her body in it and got into the tanning booth. The salon staff then smelled something burning in the air and discovered that the woman's tanning bed was on fire. The woman's black burnt corpse laid there dead. When the autopsy came back, it said, by combining tanning lotion and a tanning bed, the woman literally cooked herself alive.
A mass casualty event just happened in the capital of Iran.
It's Iran.
Shut up. And it's not just there. There are reports of explosions coming from Iraq at the same exact time. The air defense have been active in Iran for the last 2 nights. In Iraq, it was missiles and drones at an airport. And we also don't know who did this either. They're saying that the drone strike that just happened was aimed at a leadership meeting. And just a few days ago, I showed you where a high-rise was hit. Nuclear scientists and some other leaders of the IRGC were taken out. And oddly enough, the timing of this happened right after this happened. I'm sure it's not related whatsoever. And also, coincidentally, at the same exact time, we have him saying they're not going to meet with Iran anytime soon, but we also have a group called Robert that just hacked all of his allies' stuff. Even stuff about Stormy Daniels. Who knows what's all in there. So pretty weird stuff. All this conflict coming out of nowhere, as it seems, in Iraq and Iran. And we're not even getting into all the death threats coming from Iran to the United States.
We have an interesting UFO sighting. This was actually coming out of Dallas, Texas, captured around the beginning of June of 2025. And it was multiple witnesses from the same household. They saw this massive UFO in the sky with a light beaming down. Now, some people are saying it's a street light, but she shows you what the street light looks like. And this is definitely not a street light. This is insane. This was captured in the early hours of the morning. Take a look at this. Comment below. Tell me what you think.
Must-watch. Ever since I posted a couple videos of me using this blacklight, I've been getting blacklight videos on my For You page. And there's one guy, he tests different drinks like Monster. Monster glows so bright under one of these things right here. That gave me an idea. I started looking in my fridge and freezer, and y'all, this right here is a brand new, straight out of the freezer, like we got it 2 or 3 days ago, 6-pack of corn from our local grocery store. And y'all, I'm not making this up. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not showing y'all no name of this company, but I talked to one of my uncles and I've Googled it. He said the only reason that he thinks it should be glowing like this, and he's real big into plants, and I mean, he's been doing it his whole life, was in the business forever, but he said it's either got a chemical on it or a chemical in the ground. I Googled it, and it said the only reason corn should be glowing under a UV light is because of a chemical in the ground. And it said it is very toxic to humans and animals. Y'all, I want y'all to watch this. This is so crazy. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm sharing it with y'all. We're not gonna eat this. Ever since I posted a couple videos of me using this blacklight, I've been getting blacklight videos on my For You page. And there's one guy, he tests different drinks like Monster. Monster glows so bright under one of these things right here.
Video that ended my scroll for the night and is going to send me to bed in a deep anxiety is Peter Thiel when asked, should the human race survive? should everyone live? He goes, well, hey. That's a meatball down the middle, Peter. Petey. That's a hanging curveball coming in at 70. That should go 450, center field. Right? We should knock that one out of the park. I've never heard an easier yes in my life. The co-founder of Palantir is over here talking about, I'm not sure if humans should survive. I'm just gonna look at you. What are we talking about? Not to mention he looks like a supervillain. Hey, quick question. Why can't someone have $1 billion and not look like a complete freak? You know what I mean? Is that just like a requirement when you hit the $1 billion net worth market?
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitant.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would,
this is a long hesitation. It's a long hesitation.
There's so many questions.
Should the human race survive?
This is the guy that's basically running America from the back room, and he can't answer whether or not humans should exist. Okay, he's got his tentacles everywhere, all over Trump's office. From people like David Sachs in the Office of Science and Technology Policy, to companies like Palantir, if you remember, they're creating a master database on all of us, down to Doge and all the way up to the Vice President, J.D. Vance. He's all over Trump's cabinet as well, from the Department of Defense to the Department of State, Department of Energy, also the Department of Health and Human Services. Let me just read some quotes from this insane interview called Peter Thiel and the Antichrist. Here he's talking about trans, and he says, quote, the critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's, man, it's so pathetically little. And okay, we want more than cross-dressing or changing your... So we want you to be able to change your heart, and change your mind, and change your whole body. What the He also told the story of when he was at PayPal and he took his entire company to a, quote, freezing party, and that you could freeze your whole body or just your head. And this part where he's asked whether fusing humans with computers is heretical from a Christianity perspective, he says, yeah, I don't know. I think the word nature does not occur once in the Old Testament, and so there is a sense in which the way I understand the Judeo-Christian inspiration, it is all about transcending nature. Maybe I'm just the simpleton here, and I'm the one who doesn't get it, but I don't think we should all become computers.
Don't believe they're telling you about what's falling from the skies right now. If you aren't aware by now, there has been thousands of reports of, in quotations, fireballs falling from the sky in numerous states, primarily Georgia, where a lot of people have been seeing a lot of them. But here's the thing, right? I've noticed tens of thousands of residents in Georgia alone that have been reporting a mysterious broadcast on their news channels. I mean, people are saying that the broadcast told them to expect weird weather events. I mean, it's some really crazy shit. You know what I mean? I saw a couple of videos of this broadcast that people were showing on TikTok last night, but now those videos are all of a sudden gone. Now, NASA declared that the object in question was a meteor, but here's the thing. Chief of NASA's Meteoroid Environments Office said the meteor was about 3 feet in diameter, but yet there have been thousands of reports of different objects that have been falling from the sky. But then he said that it was releasing an energy of about 20 tons of TNT. Not just that, but there's a guy that actually took a picture of a fragment that landed in his yard. And the craziest part about this is that in that picture, you can see it glowing. And I mean, this thing is barreled into the ground, at least 2 feet deep. So how is that just a fragment of a 3-foot meteor? I'm also noticing some of the residents of the city of McDonough that have been speaking out as well. They've been claiming that there have been a lot of suspicious vehicles in that area since yesterday. Whatever this may be should definitely have everybody's attention.
There's a device that can see demons and other entities in our realm. Let's talk about it. So there is a scientist by the name of Daniel Melms, and he created a device that can see entities and anomalies all around us, and took pictures of it. Right here you can see there's different pictures of what he captured. So how does this work? He uses quantum mechanics, electromagnetism, and it uses anomalies. Now, what are the anomalies? The anomalies are these different images that you see here. These images don't appear anywhere else in the film. So you can clearly see that they're here. And we've been always talking about battling a spiritual war. These might be the entities that we're actually battling against, and he was actually able to capture them. So when we're talking about, whether or not other entities are around us, we captured them on film. And we talked about the other goggles, the diacyanide goggles.
There was a guy at church who was on, I can't remember what he regularly would use, but he would use that to access the spiritual world illegally. They brought me into this meeting with him, and he started describing me a spiritual being that he would encounter being on these things. And he said, "Have you seen that?" And I looked behind him, and then there was that spiritual being that was not the Lord. And that spiritual being was freaking out because I could see him. And so I told him, I said, "I'm telling you right now," I said, "you're opening yourself up illegally to the spiritual world using these things." I said, "The way that we access the spiritual world correctly has to be through the spirit. But psychedelics and all that stuff is coming through the back door. And you open yourself up to far greater problems that way." end up getting a spiritual being you have no business talking to, because spiritual beings are nosy. Now, demons are silly. Other spiritual beings, they're nosy. They want to know what you know, especially if you're sons, because you know things about God that they may not know, they get from watching.
What's happened today is pretty insane, so I think you're all gonna wanna see this. First of all, in the UK now, police are using forensic spray to catch criminals. It was being sent out a while ago to people who are likely to be subject to domestic abuse, as it basically sticks on an object or skin and you can track things. But now police in multiple counties across the UK are using this to catch criminals. For instance, on stolen bikes or cars, the police are then spraying it to track it, but also on people. This is wild, but Israel have confirmed that their strike on Iran was inspired by Game of Thrones. They've said that the Red Wedding inspired this and gave them inspiration, and that they've actually dubbed the operation as the Red Wedding, which is just absolutely mad. They have now added a trigger warning to a nursery rhyme in the UK. The kids' nursery rhyme Hickory Dickory, which is about chasing a mouse, they're now saying is scaring kids. They're saying it's scaring kids, so they're essentially adding a trigger warning and saying don't speak about it. And you've probably seen there's going to be an emergency alert test in the UK. This did happen last year. They're going to be doing it again this year. Not sure when, so I'll keep you updated.
So this is a very cool document from a 3-letter agency that was sent to the Pentagon in 1952, and it just recently kind of resurfaced. It was initially classified, and it was made out for the Secretary of Defense himself. And what did it say? Basically, we're seeing unknown craft. They're flying in ways we don't understand, and this could be a national security risk. That's not a quote from 2024. That's from 1952. The letter also came with 3 separate attachments. The first was a catalog of UFO sightings from pilots and Air Force personnel describing discs, lights, mechanical objects doing impossible maneuvers. Sounds familiar. The second attachment showed radar anomalies and failed military intercepts. Jets could not catch these things. And the third was early pattern analysis, literally the precursor to today's UAP task force. But here's the interesting part. The language is not vague, it's very direct. It says we are dealing with something under intelligent control. They even recommended creating an interdepartmental working group immediately. But there's also a warning in the letter. It says do not release this to the public until the findings can be substantiated. So, same story, different decade. UFOs, secrecy, internal panic, and making sure the public is not notified. I really love these old documents that get declassified. Let me know if you do too, and I'll continue talking about them.
Yeah, what's going on here? Got one guy just stood there. He's been stood there for about an hour. This other guy just stood here. This woman just stood here.
There's a guy in trees over.
That guy just stood there. There's a guy 2 trees over there, and then this woman just stood here. But like, what they just stood here doing mad stuff.
What the fuck?
Right now they've all just started walking, just walking away, just all walking randomly. They all just stood there, stopped. Now they've all just started walking. Look, got their things. They started walking. What is going on? What's happening? Have we just witnessed some like? We just witnessed some sort of... What was it? I don't get it. What's going on? What? They've just started walking. Look, she's just walking.
The big Jackie Whip.
Speaking of Disney, dude, the Black Pearl.
Oh, yes. I don't know anything about it. What's up?
The whole reason that Jack Sparrow's ship was black. So apparently there's this whole scene where they give that backstory. Apparently Jack Sparrow worked for the East India Trading Company forever ago, and the Black Pearl was given to him under contract from Beckett to be running goods from these places. Well, he goes on one of these assignments to pick up cargo. He gets there and it's slaves.
What?
And so on the Black Pearl, which wasn't black at the time, I guess the wooden pearl, he picks up, well, as they're sailing, he frees them all. Beckett catches up and lights the ship on fire. It burns down and sinks. And when in the deleted scene, they're having this dialogue, it doesn't show all this happen. Jack Sparrow's line, he said, people aren't cargo. And so literally he lost his ship, turned to pirating because he freed slaves. It's like this epic backstory.
So they burnt the Black Pearl, and then he made a deal
He had to
with
make a
Davy
deal
Jones
to bring it back.
And that's why it's the Black Pearl, because it was burnt.
And that's why also people are terrified when they see the Black Pearl, because it shouldn't exist.
It shouldn't be there.
It's awesome.
Why would you delete that?
The fallen angels know since the resurrection, it's over.
Jesus went and told them.
Since then,
royals and the monasteries litter.
So in the video I made about China going through this monumental flood, I was checking out a lot of the comments and people were saying that this was AI. Y'all, how can you fake this, y'all? Look at this. Does this look like AI to you guys? This lady is out here, she's with the media. This is not no CGI, this is not no AI, y'all. The disaster is monumental. It is everywhere, all over their media. They're covering this, and it's so bad that they even had to call the military, the Chinese military, to come and help, y'all. Look at this. See, the only difference is when this stuff happens in America, right? We don't hear about the military. Hell, like we do hear about them, but we never see videos of them actually helping. But look at these people over here. After the disaster in China, now they're all coming together and helping this town. I know we're in the age of artificial intelligence, but you guys got to be able to tell what's real and not real by now, y'all, because things are getting serious out there, y'all. So now everyone is out there trying to, you know, help this community come together after these devastating floods, y'all. This is...
And more than 80,000 have been evacuated from their homes after persistent downpours caused multiple local rivers to burst their banks and wreaked havoc on residential communities on Tuesday, June 24th. Cleanup operations are now in full swing. Teams are clearing up debris, draining water from low-lying areas, restoring power supplies, preventing waterborne diseases, and providing shelters to the evacuees.
There's water in places that China has never even heard of, y'all. This is gonna take a while. But yes, y'all can see this is real. Let me know what you guys think about this video. The shit that's here. Let's get it.
Bro, it is all kicking off in the UK right now, and today, even the United States is getting involved. You see, on Saturday at Glastonbury, the UK's biggest festival, this happened.
Death to the IDF! Death to the IDF! Death to the IDF! Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Now that's a British duo called Bob Vylan performing in front of...
Worshipped Black Goose Stones, and then the demons came out of it. This is something that needs further understanding as well. There is one Hollywood film that very precisely shows what this is about. It's basically the story is about a human couple. She's a scientist, he's, I think, a soldier. And basically everything is already destroyed on planet Earth. And this woman she's a shaman, and she's collecting animal spirits, kind of finding the last surviving animals to pick up their spirit. And then they go to the place where the meteorite came down and find a black goo-like substance, and they manage to infect the alien black goo with the information field of Mother Earth. And then kind of Mother Earth manages to conquer the alien information field, healing the entire planet. So this is basically, I do not know who wrote the script for this film, but there's an extreme deep knowledge, because exactly the setup that is described in the film is the setup that is basically ruling the entire planet since 16,000 years, giving us this type of duality, giving us demons that for me appear to as the lost souls of a biosphere that self-destroyed and came here as a swarm of meteorites. So basically, this is the liquid brain of a different planet brought here by intention, because I don't believe that even if this planet exploded, we should have had like thousands of meteorites without black goo and maybe one with black goo. But what arrived here is only meteorites with black goo. So somebody brought this here by intention to, by intention, infect this planet with this alien consciousness. And the entities black magicians are talking to must be surviving beings that are not incarnating anymore because they lost their planets, but are still there as the souls of these beings, being highly intelligent. And if you look at the pictures that people painted from, let's say, their visions they had from this type of reality, it seems to be a spider-like species that was running this planet that self-destroyed. So these are like insect biology, spider-like, extremely intelligent and highly developed. And these were called the archons in our culture. So basically these are beings that started by communicating with people that were willing to communicate. They started to create this black magic entanglement to humanity, and they offered us the possibility to control others. This was something that was actually not within the human nature. All these ideas of running a biosphere not based on love, but based on different emotions. This is what they kind of introduced to this planet. So the first things that came from the black magic rituals was blood and fire sacrifice. Ritually killing animals to gain this biophoton burst that is emitted when a being dies in pain, to, on one hand, feed the demons. This is what they needed to survive as beings, that they didn't have a biology of their own, so they needed to feed on life force in a certain way. And on the other hand, some of the energy extracted by these rituals is also used to pay the people sacrificing, because they want to have worldly power. So if you want to have worldly power and gain profit, you need ways and means to control other people. And this painful emission of life force when you kill somebody can, if you know the game of black magic, can be used to force other people to do things they do not want to force, because facing these energies is extremely painful. And this has evolved and developed on our planet, and they switched from, let's say, the biophoton burst from killing animal and humans. It was changed to a system that is running today on torture energy. We are keeping billions of animals in concentration camp like conditions on farms, making them suffer their entire life, killing them in cruelest ways, and then we eat them. Although this is not within our nature. Normally we have long lower intestines. We're supposed to be vegetarians, maybe with a possibility to digest a little meat before we starve as a security thing. But normally we should not scoff meat from morning till evening. So this is actually all coming out of these black magic traditions, being fire and blood sacrifice, to produce torture energies that are utilized by the black magic community to run and rule this planet. So this is kind of the the way that this little incident 16,000 years ago took over our culture, took over our way of living. And actually everything we do today is part of this agenda. This is all about control. Control is giving birth to scarcity. Because if I want to control things, I grab them and do not leave them for others. So the others do not have access anymore. So this is possessing things, owning things. This is money. The moment I have money, I need a political system to administer all the things. So basically, every quality that we perceive as being normal, because we were born in this, actually is part of this black magic cult. If we go beyond this, before this, we come to a paradise state that is living in abundance, that we all just share free out of love with each other. Nature is giving us so much. We could all live in abundance without any problems, but we are infected by these energies. We are following their ways of control. So what we basically do is we connect ourselves to, not to love, but to torture energy by eating what we eat. This is how this is introduced into our system. And then we let ourselves being guided and ruled by torture energy, being in resonance with this. And this is what we call politics, and this is why politics want to go to World War III, because this is blood sacrifice. This is how they work, and this is how they maintain their system, and power is part of this system. We cannot solve a problem by replacing one governor by another one, because the concept of governing is black. We cannot replace a currency by a better currency, because the concept of money is black. So this is kind of, once you start to understand the ways that were introduced by this agenda, you start to realize that we are completely infected. It's like normally we think we are humans, but suddenly we realize no, we are just one big piece of cancer that is running around with the things we do and the things we live, realizing that this is not human.